Hi, I'm Sam. I became a Christian. I committed my life to Jesus when I was 20 years old. My first experience of Jesus as a child was when I went along to Catholic Mass with my nonna. I had no idea who God was, and my only understanding of who Jesus was Gesù Cristo, che è morto per I nostri peccati. In Italian, I had no idea what that meant. And over the years, as I went through my childhood, my parents were divorced and had a nasty separation for many years. I cried out to this God. I had no idea who he was. I'd heard about Jesus, but it wasn't personal for me at that point. As my primary school years went on, I remember distinctly learning in Year 5 in my scripture class what Jesus had done for me, what sin was, and what the Bible was, and what it was teaching about who I am and who God is. I'm so thankful that same scripture teacher invited me along to Friday afternoon kids club, and I loved it. We had an absolute ball. I loved what I was learning, and all of a sudden this God that I'd been crying out to as a small child was becoming more and more real. I then found myself 18 years old. I'd finished school and had this newfound freedom. I was loving working, having fun, going out, traveling, saving all my money to do all of those things and experiencing everything that life had to offer. I found myself really disconnected from church and from other Christians. At that point, it felt like I'd gone too far. I couldn't go back to those Christian friends. I couldn't go back to that church. My own guilt and shame, because I knew the truth. I knew who God was. I'd learnt all about it, yet I'd run really far from it without even realising. At this point of my life, I was having a great time, but I found myself in a point of incredible dissatisfaction. Is this really all that life has to offer? And I finally plucked up the courage to go to church. I wanted God in my life again. I was terrified. My own guilt and shame plagued me. I walked into church and the experience was amazing. On top of that, the sermon, I still remember it to this day. It was like, for the first time in my life, I actually understood how far I'd walked away that actually meant that God had to do something so drastic to send his son to die in my place so that I would be forgiven. Transformation didn't happen overnight. I had a great experience at church, but I was still really wrestling with sin. I was still working through a lot of things in the Bible that I was trying to understand. I'm really thankful that there was one woman in particular who asked me to read the Bible with her. That was a really powerful time where I could just be honest with her about my life and with my questions. And God really used that to draw me closer to himself at that time. That was a few years ago now, so here I am on the coast with a family of my own. God has been at work in so many ways, and I feel like I have so many stories of his faithfulness to tell, but the biggest one is that Jesus died for me, and so I live that out each day, trusting him and reaching out to him